Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to my series In the Headlines. I wanted to create this so that we could talk about things that are in the headlines in the true crime space, in addition to the cases that I bring you every single week. This still gives me a chance to talk about those cases that is so important and not going anywhere, but also gives me an opportunity to have a segment where I can talk about things that are current in the headlines that I just feel like I want to weigh in on and bring attention to as well. And sometimes you just need to talk about it. So we are going to start today. This is the first episode, and we are kicking this off with a true crime mystery solving TikTok creator who I believe in her mind really feels like she's doing good, but absolutely is not. This is some of the most jaw-dropping content, unethical, damaging, disturbing that I've seen. Before we get into it though, I have a quick message for you. Before we get started, I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor today, HelloFresh. Gosh, I love them. I love them. If you're a regular on the channel, you know that. The past few months though, I have been very appreciative of them as all of these prices everywhere we look are skyrocketing, especially in the grocery stores. Having an option like HelloFresh where it breaks down the savings of the servings that you're getting and helping you not overspend by having pre-portioned meals ready for you, fresh ingredients, you're not sacrificing the quality. Right now, I feel like we're paying an arm and a leg at the grocery store and it's not even fresh a lot of the time. The fact that HelloFresh's ingredients travel from the farm to your door in less than 7 days says it all. You're also not needing to sacrifice being creative and having a delicious meal. They have over 40 recipes weekly. Their customization options are endless, whether you're looking for something that is calorie smart, carb smart, family friendly. Maybe you're just looking for something like nice and quick and easy, 20-minute meals. They've got you. This week, oh my God, we made the one pot Southwest beef and cavatappi, and Brent and I were still talking about it the next day. I even took a photo of the meal and sent it to my mom. And I was like, you guys have to go on the site right now and hope that it's still there to order it. And it was only one pot, like literally one pot. I started grabbing all of these like mixing bowls, frying pans, getting ready to whip up this whole chef-inspired meal. And it did taste very chef, professional chef-like, but I did it in one pot. Oh, I'm starting to salivate now thinking about it again. It seriously was so good. Even the kids love it, which is always just so important to me. So the last thing I want to do is just hear, I don't like this. Anytime that doesn't happen, it's a win for me. So bravo, HelloFresh. If you want to check them out, head on over to HelloFresh.com and use my code Sherilyn65 for 65% off plus free shipping. Once again, that's HelloFresh.com. Use my code Sherilyn65 for 65% off plus free shipping. And I'm telling you, if that one pot Southwest beef and cavatappi, come on, Sherilyn, I got too excited I can't even talk. If that is on the menu, hit it and run to the checkout. Don't walk. I promise you'll love it. Once again, thank you so much, HelloFresh. So I'm in my Pam era, you guys. Officially, I've cut my hair. If my hairdresser is watching, Kara, I am sorry. You were probably very horrified. Like, what did she do to her hair? Yeah, I did it myself. Anyways, let me live my life, please, you guys. I'm so happy right now. All right, back to the case. So Tracy tagged me in a video that she did talking about this. And she also mentions in there too that she does not believe that this creator is intending to cause as much harm and damage as she is. I am in no way, shape, or form a professional. This is just based off my personal experiences and observations. I don't want anybody to attack anybody, so please don't feel like that's my intention either. The issue here is accountability though. This type of content is just going to rip this community apart. It's going to obliterate all credibility, honest, well-intended creators who are trying to use their platform ethically and responsibly. Now I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of background on this creator whose name is Ashley by reading her own words about herself from her website. All right, so her description this is from a blog post of herself. She refers to herself as Ashley God. I believe her last name is Giard. She's got that in brackets. So it says she's a genius due to her exceptional intellectual and spiritual power. A genius that was developed through rigorous traditional left brain and spiritual right brain means. Neuropsychologists and biologists teach that traits of the left side of the brain are order, logic, planner, analytical, reality-based, sequential, seek stability, control, rational, cautious, attention to detail, a posteriori, knowledge, and more. Neuropsychologists and biologists in general teach that the right side of the brain controls emotional intelligence, compassion, holistic thinking, imagination, perception, creativity, empathy, intuition, reasoning, risk-taking, free thinking, vision-oriented, a priori knowledge, and more. I'm cringing a little bit, you guys, just because of the fact that I've seen the 200 TikTok videos that she created. And in those videos, I do not see reality-based control, rationality, compassion, empathy, or reasoning. So it says that she was able to cultivate her gifts for the left brain, served nearly 4 years of military service in the U.S. Army, including 1 year of combat, studied through higher education for nearly 8 years. She earned a Master of Science in Human Resource Management from Troy University and a Bachelor of Business Administration and Management degree from Columbus State. Worked as a classification analyst for the federal government. To cultivate her right brain, Ashley quit her job in 2016 and spent 6 years in near continuous solitude. She focused primarily on connection with the Holy Spirit of God, spiritual purification, right brain development, Kabbalistic spiritual studies, astrology, tarot, Western astrology, numerology, gematria. I am very out of touch with my spiritual education. The application of biblical principles, divine femininity, divine masculinity, the twin flame journey, spiritual wholeness, spiritual freedom, dream interpretation, writing books, spiritual communication, and clairvoyance. It was during those years of spiritual development that she learned more about her ability to receive spiritual communication in all forms, to include the ability to gain insight through the art of tarot. By the end of 2021, Ashley was ready for practical application of everything she learned to help solve cold cases, mishandled cases, and more. Starting with the murder of Tamla Hosford, she began by writing books explaining the details of the crimes and eventually used TikTok to publish the information to a wider audience. November 2022, December 2022, Ashley's efforts increased drastically because of the Moscow, Idaho University of Idaho student murders case was current. She was eager to discover the truth to help investigators get the information that they needed to arrest the murderers as soon as possible. Oh my gosh, you guys. So she believes her gifts can help solve these crimes and mysteries. The problem is they haven't. They are causing extreme distress, mental and emotional damage to victims' loved ones and innocent people that she's accusing of murder. She has publicly accused Kaylee Gonsalves's boyfriend and a professor who never even taught Kaylee of orchestrating and causing the murder of these 4 students. Like I said, there's over 200 videos. I felt like I was in the gosh darn Twilight Zone watching them. We are not going to watch them all, but I do want to go through several of them just to show how out of touch all of this is and to bring light to the importance of platforms holding their creators accountable. Like this should not be allowed. All right, so the first video that we're going to watch is her initial reading on the case.
Solving Mysterious Deaths, Episode 8, Solving the Mystery of the 4 Idaho college students who were found murdered. The reading starts off describing a person who recently had to relocate, a change of residence, lost out on maybe a dorm room or some type of resident opportunity for school. This person is studious. This person is quiet-natured. This person is studious. A hard worker, someone that other students can rely on. This could even have been an overseer of the students. So it could have even been somebody who worked at the dorms or something like that. So this student was having doubt and despair, making a mountain out of a molehill type energy, over the problems that they were having regarding one of the 4 college students and the residents. This person may have felt humiliated over something, but there was some type of disappointment or defeat that led to like despair and embarrassment. What the 4 college students, or one of them at least, were doing were just college stuff. It says petty annoyances, unavoidable problems. The problems weren't being solved in a timely manner. Stagnation. It looks like one of them was like highly sexually active, so it was a lot of sexual activity, and this bothered this person, the killer, one of the killers. It was at least 2 killers. This person was worried about his or her well-being. I believe it was a male student that we're talking about here. But now let's talk about the other killer. She was anxiety prone, emotional, jealous, deceitful, lacked confidence. She felt powerless. She felt restricted regarding a relationship that she desired that she could not get. It says unexpected failure. So this either was a breakup or just devastation that she could not get who she wanted to get. Honestly, it looks like the expectation of power, of wealth, of a life, of an affluent life that just wasn't going to happen. So then there's the proposition that she goes to this student who initially either had to relocate or lost a job or something like that regarding one of the 4 college students. She tells him, here's a way you can make things right. It's like making right past wrongs, so to speak. Maybe the person lost their job and she's like, well, this is how you can make things right. Since you did this, this is how you can fix it. And the fix was an invitation to kill very harshly, warlike killing of the 4 Idaho college students. So the proposition was to make amends for your mistakes. This is what you can do. And he took the bait.
Okay, so this is who she's believing the killers are. The next video I have is her profile of the killers.
To identify the killer of the 4 University of Idaho college students, they're looking for somebody with stamina, strength, young, a student, relentless determination, someone who went through difficulties, either lost their roommate or residence, dorm room, or a resident job or something like that. Someone who felt despair over this loss, irritated, unhappy with how things were handled. For the other killer, you're looking for a couple. Somebody was in a relationship and that relationship broke up. This is someone whose relationship may have been admired on social media, or who wanted a relationship that was like respected and admired socially. Both of the killers experienced a loss. One of the killers experienced a loss of residence. The other killer experienced a loss of a partner, boyfriend or girlfriend. These 2 killers communicated with each other because one of them propositioned the other.
All right, and now this is her motive, why they did this, why they came together.
So to categorize it, the University of Idaho students were killed due to domestic violence. One of the killers was broken up with, and then that killer propositioned the one to carry out the murder. You do this, I give you that.
This is just so upsetting, especially because I know where this next stuff is going to unfold. And it's crazy because it's like this is all taken like within minutes of each other. The way I'm reading it is she's trying to line up her theory that she wants to put out there and knows who she's about to publicly accuse for whatever reason.
So the person who hired the killer to kill all 4 Idaho college students, 2 but ultimately turned into 4, was connected to both Kaylee and the killer. She had information on the killer. She knew that the killer had a problem with finishing school, wanted to badly finish school. So she used that as leverage to bargain with him. I give you this, you give me that. And they both came up with a unified plan and business partnership to execute the murders so that he can get what he wants and she can get what she wants. This could be a person that's in power, like a teacher. If it's a teacher, it's a history teacher. But it's like a person in power who is working with this student or wannabe student to execute this murders. She did not want to lose her respect and admiration. She did not want to lose her possessions. And I'm saying she, but it could be a he too, but I'm feeling very female energy.
She's feeling very female energy, which you're going to understand why right now, because then she goes off and officially publicly accuses a female teacher.
This is the teacher who potentially had the 4 Idaho students killed. She's the one who ordered the execution. As you can see from here, she may have been a part of LGBTQ community and she may have dated Kaylee or wanted to.
Holy you guys, when I say my jaw dropped the first time I saw this, I've seen this several times and I'm still having a physical reaction. But the first time I saw this, I could not believe it. You really went onto the website, saw a teacher that you believe your gift was pointing you to, and put her on the internet accusing her of potentially having an inappropriate relationship with Kaylee. And this is what led to the 4 deaths. I'm like, I don't have a word. I'm disgusted. I'm shocked. I'm so pissed off. Brace yourselves, you guys. Like, get a damn drink if you haven't already. I'm really upset that I don't have one close by right now because this gets worse. So here's what her gift is telling her the motive is. This is I know that you guys are all rational and you're so understanding of what's going on here, but this is just in her, like, she is just playing this out. This is a story in her head and she's out here trying to convince everybody that she's reading this and that she's being told this because of her gift. No, she is out in a fantasy land fabricating her idea and dramatization and baseless assumptions on this tragedy.
Brief synopsis of who killed the University of Idaho college students and why. Their murder was ordered by Rebecca Schofield. Her targets were Kaylee and Madison. Rebecca was highly interested in Kaylee. She spent a lot of time fantasizing and thinking about her. They may have had some sort of fling. But ultimately, because of stubbornness and inability to see eye to eye, they broke it off. When they broke it off, Kaylee and Madison was seen together, and Rebecca did not like this because she felt that it could cause her trouble. She could get snitched on for dating a student. She was so consumed and worried about losing respect, admiration, and her possessions that she hired the killer to carry out the murder. The killer did it simply for money and to be back into school and so that he can finish his studies. He was previously in trouble and may be kicked out of housing.
Yeah, no, I said I'm upset. I don't have a drink. I'm going to get one. I have to get one. As I was pouring this, I was like, you know what? This actually could go in the complete opposite direction of me just having an Elle Woods moment in Legally Blonde when she's like, liar! Watching the soap opera. Anyways, always with a reference, you guys. Anyways, so in the video clip right before, she says potentially. This is potentially, but still puts her face on there, puts her qualifications, where she works. And in the video right after, and this is all on the same day, it's the same outfit, same day, now she's moved on to the couch. She says this is the person who orchestrated the murders and essentially blames Kaylee and Maddie's friendship for being the reason. It gets worse.
So the reading that I did on his arrest and her arrest, 2 totally different readings. It looks like he will be put to justice way before she does. They will be slow in arresting her. She's going to first go to another job. She's going to leave her current job and start writing. She's going to focus on her writing and she's going to isolate herself. So she's going to leave. That's after she backstabs the killer. She's not going to live up to her promises for him. I mean, she can't. So it's a change of plans. That's when she's going to get out of Dodge. She'll be isolated in some cabin or a house somewhere. She's going to focus on her writing, her books. She's going to get a lawyer. But she's still going to lose her case. She's going to go to jail while her trial is pending. The final verdict will reveal that she's guilty and that she wasn't the person that everybody thought she was. See the zombie? It may take a while for this all to happen.
Now, like I said, I am not versed at all when it comes to tarot reading and stuff like that. I'm curious to know if anybody who watches the channel or comes across this video is, and what your interpretation of those cards that she's putting up are. If that could lead to like her views and her message and her voice. I might almost wonder if she just picked them up out of the pile to try to spin the narrative. All right, this is where we get into her announcing who she's being told is the second killer, and again publicly accusing and naming this person. There's no assumption. She is straight up accusing this person.
The second killer involved in the murder of the 4 Idaho college students is Kaylee's other ex, Jack DeCour. It appears that Jack had a...
Whoa, pause. I don't think I caught that before, where she says Kaylee's other ex. Again, straight up stating as facts that Kaylee had an inappropriate relationship with this teacher, this professor. Holy.
Jack had issues with money and survival, possible issues with shelter. Jack did it because he was single-minded, focused only on the end goal, which was to accomplish his goals. He felt like this murder for hire proposition would help him meet his other life goals and overcome life's challenges. Bliss and prosperity, so many things were promised to him. He wanted to make sure there was an equal exchange. So basically, because he was going through a hard time accomplishing his goals and finishing his schooling, this was a solution for him. It was promised that if he killed these people, that his problems would disappear and that he would have a better chance to build for the future. It was a sacrifice for him to leave the past behind and to work towards his future.
This is so messed up. Like, this isn't a reading. This is a retelling. This is a story. You're talking about emotion. You're talking about intention, motivation, the conversations that they had between each other. And it's very obvious to see that as information is being leaked, her story her readings, and it's her story, you guys, start to shift and spin and interweave so that it can fit what is slowly being released by the police so that they can really solve the cases as quickly as possible. And while like little tidbits were coming out, you can kind of tell what those moments were because her readings start to adjust to them. So this is her explanation as to why Jack didn't answer the phone when it was released that Kaylee had called him several times that evening.
The reason why they called Jack 10 times the night of the murder is because they saw something moving. And intuitively, it was her intuition who told her it was Jack. So they called him that many times because they think they saw him. And they did. He didn't answer because he was in the middle of their murder. Somehow, Kaylee and Maddie saw it coming. The phone call prolonged his plan. Because they called him, he felt like he made a mistake, so he waited. He set some time aside to resolve that issue. So when they called him, he was around the house, but decided to just stick around and wait instead of executing it at that time. Accomplishing this murder gave him so much confidence. He feels like he can do anything now. He feels like he has a power, a strength, a determination and will that he can tap into anytime he needs to.
So please remember that. So she is saying that accomplishing this, like, so he has accomplished this. He's the one who accomplished it. And now he rocks around. He's got a strength. He's got a this. He's got a confidence that he never knew that he had. That is important to remember because obviously we know that the alleged perpetrator has been found and the spinning of the narrative to fit then gets interesting. So these next two videos are further accusations against Jack and Rebecca and how they co-conspired.
These are the two people who partnered to kill the 4 University of Idaho college students. Rebecca Schofield, associate professor and chair of the history department, and Jack DeCour, Kaylee's ex.
Again, wording. There's no assumption here. She is publicly accusing them with zero evidence or proof.
So I was interested in knowing more about the partnership between Rebecca Schofield and Jack DeCour to see how they came together to plot and execute the murders of the 4 Idaho college students. Again, her paranoia about being caught up with whatever she had going on with Kaylee is what led her to do this. So she reached out to Jack, maybe even made a phone call to him. So before she was the chair of the history department, she may have been a guide for arts major or some type of other major, arts entertainment, that he was a part of, and that's how they connected. Anyway, she made a phone call to him, and he was unsure. He was like, is this her? It was like a mysterious woman, but she obstructed his path. She blocked him. He didn't say nothing until he was sure, but it was her. She offered him so many promises. It says a chance for a new life, a chance to grow on a stronger foundation, opportunities, a chance to start again and start anew, to give him necessary resources.
I don't personally know anything about Jack or his situation or his like family, but from just like gathering like any type of research and reading that I have done, my understanding is that he is not in a situation where he's struggling. He's a talented young man, and from what I gather, comes from a good home. Even Kaylee's family and friends have nothing but amazing things to say about Jack and his family. I don't know. Of course, I don't know anything that's going on here in the thought process. Again, this is a story. Yeah. All right. So this next video is her response to when people were watching this and started sending this to the two people that she's accusing, and her response.
Y'all are really doing too much. This crime is still being committed. The killer still hasn't been rewarded for his actions. Why would you send my videos to her so she can make a change to her plan? She know I'm not lying. And so if I put out a video projecting what's to happen next, or projecting that someone is going to say something, why would you send it to her? If you don't believe me, that's one thing. But to send my videos, you've now put yourself in the crime. You're now helping the killer. Now I'm only going to post on the events that already occurred, not what's to come.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Gaslighting the people who sent the people that she is accusing of murder her videos. And this is her response to if she's afraid of being sued, because now it's clear that this has made its way to the two people that she's accused.
First of all, I'm not worried about Rebecca Schofield suing me, because she will be using her resources to fight for murder cases. She ordered the execution, the murder of Kaylee, Madison, Ethan, and Zayna. Therefore, that's where her resources will be, fighting for murder cases. So since you are so pressed, let's ask the spirit, how many years will Rebecca Schofield get in prison? Okay, so it appears that she's going to lose her job first. Then she's going to go to jail, and while she's in jail, she's going to be either physically and mentally ill, or mentally ill, some sort of depression or illness. It looks like she's going to spend the rest of her life in prison, because it then start talking about all these events that's going to happen while she's behind bars. Life events. You know, like the people that she loved previously and was connected to previously, having other children, getting other people pregnant, getting married, stuff like that. She may even have some sort of same-sex marriage in prison.
It hurts. It hurts to try to process this. Again, just remember, she's not worried. She's not going to be sued, because Rebecca is going to be held up in court with all of her fees to fight this murder case, and not her. All right, and then now she goes back to reading more about like the murders and why this happened, trying to fit the narrative of things that are coming out.
I know, because Jack the Core is the ex, people think, oh, he did this because he was jealous of Madison and Kaylee. Actually, it was Rebecca who was jealous of Madison, Rebecca Schofield. I
just have to stop right there. First of all, who said that he did this because he was jealous of Madison and Kaylee? Anybody who knew them, specifically Jack, who had been with Kaylee for so many years, knows that Kaylee and Madison were essentially sisters. They grew up together. There was no inappropriate relationship, nothing to be jealous of. Who said that? Who?
Wasn't mad at Kaylee or Madison. Jack just wanted the money. So apparently there was something that happened that interfered with his goals and his dreams. He wanted to be able to pursue whatever goals and dreams he had in life, and Rebecca Schofield kind of fed into that. She sold him a dream. She sold him a promise. You can finish school. You can start your career. I'll set you up on a solid foundation, give him the money he needs. He'll have the housing and the money he needs to finish. And that is what led him to do it. It wasn't because he was so mad at Kaylee or so mad at Madison or the others. It was because he wanted a better life.
Again, I don't know where her information is coming from. Maybe there's info that I've missed when I was looking into this case that he was ever struggling financially and needed it so badly to do something like this. This is just nonsense. All right, so now this next video is her emotions and her upset that these two aren't being arrested.
I'm being patient and letting the police do their jobs, but it just seems that they're looking at everybody except the actual killers. Somebody commented that they were at Jack Showalter's house doing something. Why are they bothering this man? He didn't do it. He did not kill the 4 University of Idaho students. I also read somewhere that they were looking at sex offenders. Again, looking at everybody except the actual killers, Rebecca Schofield and Jack DeCour. This is exactly why I'm needed.
This is exactly why I'm needed. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head of when Jack was cleared, but we all know that, yeah, he was looked into. I guess the cards didn't tell you that. So after this, she goes on for about 20 videos about the final moments of the victims. There is no way I'm posting even one of them. So we're going to bypass that because I have a line. And then just going back to her being upset about why the police aren't arresting Rebecca and Jack, not, because they use critical thinking and investigative tools and resources, not cards. So then it comes out that they were looking into them and Jack was cleared, or they weren't looking into them because, whoa, let's backtrack, Sherilyn, because you're the only one who is giving any tie to this poor teacher. So I'm willing to bet a lot of money that in these early days, they didn't even need to look into her. But Jack was looked into and cleared. He had an alibi. And so this is her reply as to when all of this information comes out. Now this is her reply to Jack's alibi.
Jack DeCour's alibi is not solid. In fact, when this comes back around, if he used anybody to verify his alibi, that's going to come back around to hunt them. They will be confronted for their lies. And Jack DeCour's confession is going to be to protect his family.
All right, next video, she gets a cease and desist. And it's like, you want to just be like, about friggin' time. I mean, I'm not even going to complain about the timeline. This all happened very fast. So this is her response to the cease and desist.
So Rebecca Schofield's attorney sent me a demand letter demanding that I comply to Professor Schofield's request that I remove all of my videos regarding the University of Idaho murders, regarding her being the killer. First, it says that I was sent a letter on November 28th, which I did not receive. They should have sent it a more professional way if they wanted me to receive it, instead of just emailing it to me. Maybe it went to spam. Anyway, saying that I made false statements. I don't have to listen to this demand letter because it's claiming that I'm making false statements, and I'm not making false statements. What I'm saying is true. If they really think I'm making false statements, they will need to file actual legal documents in a federal court or in the courts in my county asking me to remove it. A judge will then determine if I need to remove it. That way, an investigation can be had determining the truth or falsity of these statements.
You can't make this. You can't make this stuff up. I just truly hope that this becomes a lesson to anybody out there who is putting content like this out and talking about and covering cases like this. Your words are so important and they hold weight. You can't just go around accusing people without evidence. And to not backtrack at any moment or apologize or just comply and take it off. This is where I made the decision that I wanted to talk about this, because I do believe that, all right, if you're going to be that irresponsible and you just are not familiar with lawsuits and stuff like that and damaging people's reputation, and that what you put out there can actually harm people, but then you don't make it right, like, that's not okay. And I'm very protective of my community, especially on YouTube. And I find that TikTok needs to just start holding people more accountable. I feel like a lot more slips by and is able to just run with these accusations and damages that have actual real life consequences. It's not like, yeah, you're watching something on the internet and you're in that bubble, but the things that are being said in these accusations, they're happening to people in real world. Like, this is real time, real life people who are living with this and dealing with this. And now this poor professor having to pay to clear her name when she's done nothing wrong. Now dipping into a financial battle because somebody just went on their TikTok and said that they read some cards and they figured out who the killer was. Like I said, I don't intend to like bully or anything. I am just very protective of creators who work really hard and who are genuinely wanting to help and who put the victims and their family members at the forefront of every single thing that they do. And when somebody messes with that, I take it really personally. All right, so now in this next video, in real time, what was playing out was this was when it was released that they were looking for this white Elantra. So this is her reading on the white Elantra.
So the person in the white vehicle that they were looking for was there for surveillance to make sure that Jack Decor completed the job. The person in the white vehicle saw Jack leave after the murders were completed.
All right. And then the next, she's asked about the lookout killer. So this person in the Elantra who is the lookout person, never heard about this before, didn't get the senses that there was a third person involved. She was so adamant from the first video that there was only two people. This is about the lookout person's name.
This is gonna sound funny, but when I figure out this riddle and what this means, I'll let you know the name. John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith, his name is my name too. Whenever we go out, the people always shout, there goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, na 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 na. Now, when I figure out why the spirit gave me that as a clue to what the person's name is, I will let you know. So what I'm thinking before I really know is the same name as somebody else. So it could be another Rebecca Schofield, or it could be another somebody somebody in her household has the same name. Hell, somebody has the same name. Is it Ashley? It's somebody with the same name. His name is my name too. So when I figure that out, I'll let you know.
I'm trying to be serious here for a second, but the fact that she shared that this jingle was in her head, I think is just a really good insight of what's going on in her head on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. Like, yeah, you're walking around with John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, just the jingle is just flowing through the cranium all day, every day. That's what that means. Okay, so then now the next video is she's trying to tie in the jingle and the name John.
Okay, so more details regarding the owner or renter of this white car that was involved in the University of Idaho murders. So the person who rented it was in town for a weekend or really quickly or for a wellness break. They had a change coming into their life and they were taking a much needed break and also getting advice from a father figure. That father figure could be Rebecca's husband, John. This person has the same name as John, so his name is John too. Rebecca Schofield used the car unbeknownst to this person, or while the person wasn't paying attention, to go check on Jack Decor to make sure that he executed the murders properly and to be his backup just in case he needed some security. Back to the person who rented or owned the vehicle. They were in town because a change was being made in their life and they just needed some advice, some much needed advice and a break. So they flew in. Who visited them that weekend?
Oh, okay, I missed that last part too. No, that was the first time. Who visited them that weekend? So now she's saying that, okay, if we can make sense of this, a fella named John flew in for advice, rented the Elantra, and Rebecca was able to sneak away. So now even though she's saying, oh, this person was a lookout. They were hired as a lookout to make sure it was done. No, it was Rebecca. She was the one who used this rental vehicle. It was her. So it's still Rebecca and Jack involved.
This is the Enterprise where the white vehicle came from. The white vehicle that was seen speeding off from the area where the 4 University of Idaho murders were committed, and also the white vehicle that Rebecca Schofield was in as she watched from the outside and pulled security for Jack DeCour to make sure that he could handle the job of killing all of the University of Idaho students. All 6 really, but ended up being 4, and 2 got away. Well, 2 he let get away. This enterprise engaged in deceptive business practices and took a bribe from Rebecca Schofield so that the records could be altered or the vehicle removed or something like that, so that she wouldn't be caught being associated with the University of Idaho murders or this vehicle, which would connect her to the crime. So this enterprise know where this vehicle is. It's not being used by anyone right now because Rebecca paid them to do that. Rebecca Schofield paid them to remove this vehicle. Removing the vehicle removes the records.
What does she think this woman is running some, the freaking world? Like, she's part of the Illuminati and she's able to have all of this control over these people? Like, going to an enterprise being like, hey, I'm going to pay you to freaking clean those records up, buddy. Just committed a murder and you're not going to tell anybody about it. So now she's... You guys, I'm not laughing because I think it's funny. You know, if you've been here for a long time, you know this happens when I get very, very emotional. So now she has accused an enterprise car rental company of basically being an accomplice of sorts because they're falsifying records to give an alibi to somebody and help clear their name. So they're involved. Then in her videos, if you go watch on TikTok, I mean, please, just please, for the love of God, save your sanity. But if you're a glutton for punishment, I guess go. But she goes on for another 20 video rant about the affair that Kaylee was having with this professor, who wasn't her professor. Again, I think I already mentioned that. This was someone she pulled out of her asshole and decided to try to ruin her life. But then she goes on about their affair. Okay, and then she goes into taking it even further in the accusations against Jack and Rebecca to saying this isn't going to be the only time they do this.
Rebecca Schofield and Jack DeCour are plotting another crime as we speak. She sent a coded message to Jack DeCour because she senses that she's in danger. So he went back to pick up his murder weapon because now he needs it.
I can't. And now that I'm when I try to go, what are you thinking? What makes you come to this conclusion? I just go back to her singing John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt in her head. All right. So after she accuses them of plotting to harm somebody else, this is her response to them wanting to silence her.
So anyway, Rebecca Schofield and Jack DeCour comes together and she talks about me and how I'm a problem that needs to be solved. She asks him to solve the problem of me and my insights and putting it on social media and getting her caught. She was really upset about the part where I said her marriage is for convenience and she didn't want no marital problems, so she wanted to get rid of me, saying that what he's going through or what I'm doing is temporary. She's going to get rid of the problem. And she paid him for his previous work for the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students, some type of financial compensation. He then takes that and instead of springing into action to get towards me, he pauses a little bit. He suspends action and he starts to reflect on those around him and spend time with his family and friends and enjoy what he has. And during that enjoyment period and during that time of no action, that's when he's going to be arrested out of the blue.
Okay, so there's a hit on her now, but Jack's just taking a minute. He's not ready yet. He's just gonna take a pause and enjoy things. John Jacob Jingleheimer. So now it comes she's getting more and more comments about hey, honey, we need evidence here. You cannot go and publicly accuse somebody and straight up say this is fact. You can't do that. So this is her response in terms of needing evidence.
People have been asking me to provide evidence for the statements and allegations that Rebecca Schofield ordered, planned, initiated, and executed the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students.
I am so sorry, you guys. I will not be able to properly focus if I do not just like get this out of there. This is so unrelated, but I have to talk about it. What the is going on with the Christmas tree? I feel like those colors could have been really adorable if you just like spread it out and you just put like the kind of like a nice wide wind up, like so a nice spacing in between of the color, and then you go with the white in between. You don't just go solid color and then like all this solid white and then this. What the is going on here? Did John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt tell you to? I can't, you guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, apologies. I needed to compose myself. All right, carry on.
To pay in different ways, Jack Decor. Now, people have been asking me for evidence, and I think that is the most ridiculous thing that I've heard. A psychic investigator, and Google it if you don't know what that is, job is to lead, to guide, to a higher understanding, to give clarity, and it is the law enforcement's job to assess the information that the psychic investigator gave them.
Pausing just so that I can say this, which is not at all what you have done. You have publicly assassinated 2 people's characters. You have accused them of murder.
They have the infrastructure. They have the resources to gather and the legal basis to request, subpoena, whatever evidence.
Okay, and then the next video, the one we've all been waiting for, her explanation about what happens when Brian was arrested and now all of a sudden he shows up.
I already posted this on my website and on my backup page, but anyway, the night of the murders, Rebecca Schofield was trying to get in touch with Jack Decor. She was having anxiety and control issues because he was not communicating with her. Before he committed the murders, he stole Murphy back. He cared more about Murphy than he did the money. He just felt like money, like the most important thing was Murphy to him. So anyway, so he spent some time.
Pause. Where the is this coming from now? I hope we're all on the same page of wondering that. And Murphy wasn't stolen. Murphy was there. And I do have to make a correct, now I'll say that that's out loud, like just on this video, because if you're going to watch my video that I did do on the Idaho 4, I made a big mistake. I said that Kaylee and Maddie were in Kaylee's room. They were actually in Maddie's room. But my understanding is Murphy was never stolen. Murphy was there in the police records when they arrived in the morning. They make a note of Murphy being there and being unharmed.
So he spent some time in introspection before he committed the crimes to make sure it was something that he wanted to do. Again, getting Murphy back brought emotional satisfaction and fulfillment to him. So the rest of the stuff, he had to think if he really wanted to do it. So he started thinking about what his life was like in his glory days when he was winning, when he was playing tennis and he was winning. And he wondered if life could ever be that good again. And again, with this experience with Rebecca Schofield, she told him that it could be possible for him to play again and for him to win again. So he just sat and thought about it for a while, and he was not answering Rebecca Schofield. She thought he wasn't committing the crimes, so she panics. She goes back to the drawing board and she tries to figure out a solution to the problem. When she went back to the drawing board, she thought, who can I call? She felt like she had multiple options, and one of those options she felt was Brian Coburger. She contacts Brian Coburger, again, using her book Creative Arts app, sends him a link and sends a coded message as if she needed his expertise, like he was aficionado, and she needed his expertise and the conclusion of it or whatever. So he opens it up and he's reading the messages and he's like, what do you want? Speak directly, speak clear. What do you
Exactly. What are you saying? Speak directly and speak. This makes no sense, especially to the narrative that you have just spun for 200 effing videos.
What do you need me to do? And she tells him what to do without telling him who she was. He wanted to know who she was, but she did not tell him who she was. She just said what he would receive if he was to go commit the murders. And in the book, it says there will be a girl, and she's describing who he needs to go and murder. So he goes to, but she also tells him not to assume anything when he gets there, because Jack DeCour would be there or potentially be there. So when he gets there, Jack DeCour is already committing the crimes. He's not answering Rebecca Schofield because he's literally busy committing the murders. So she was making a mountain out of a molehill for nothing and implementing another solution to a problem that wasn't there. And therefore, then they have Coburger, who now knows Jack DeCour committed the murder. So Jack DeCour did not want a partner, did not want to share his whatever reward he was going to get for it. So Coburger leaves, tells them to forgive each other, leaves. And Jack DeCour continues the crimes as planned.
So she's saying Brian Coburger went. He got a message from somebody he doesn't even know. But whatever they said on the other line of that message was enticing enough that he's willing to not have any background information, doesn't know what he's getting into, and he's just going to go out and do this. But then he arrives and he says, oh, someone's already doing this. All good. Hey, I didn't see anything, all right? You do you, boo. Collect what I came here to collect, but I get it, and I'm not going to say anything.
And Jack DeCour continues the crimes as planned. But then after that, they realized they had the issue of Coburger. He knows what they did, and so that's why Coburger eventually got sent off to the police.
Are you effing kidding me? She is telling people, us viewers, that Brian is essentially innocent and being used as a scapegoat. You guys, what is a synonym for appalled that just like shoots to the sky? I'm flabbergasted right now. I'm gobsmacked. I don't have a word for how messed up that is. I have to be done here. You know what? I should actually invest like a blood pressure cuff to just have like on the side of my chair. Because I swear, like it's just like it starts pumping. I just start really feeling it. For my own health, I got to be done here soon. I just have a couple more things to go over, just a little bit of updates. So after she had uploaded that, I mean, there was no, what more are you going to say? She didn't post for quite a while. And when I'm posting this video, I'm recording on Thursday, February 9th, 17 hours ago, she posts an update. So it's been over a month since she said anything. And she basically says she's been evicted. And she's got this whole story now about like how that is her aunt's fault. It's the government. And because she's been dealing with this, she hasn't been able to give the appropriate attention and time to her response and her case and her proof against Rebecca, who's suing her. Like, this is real life. You're still getting sued. So now she's saying that she's been wanting to talk about it and compiling all of her evidence for her case, but hasn't been able to, and she missed the deadline because she's been dealing with this eviction stuff, and this is her update on that.
So I'm no longer at this time posting on social media because I simply did not have the energy to. But in the background, before this time, I was working on a daily basis on my answer to the lawsuit regarding the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students. In my answer, I wanted to detail what exactly happened. So I'm digging into my spiritual right brain to write that part, and I'm digging into my left brain to learn about the laws and how to respond to this lawsuit. Literally 30-something pages in. But because everything is happening at the same time, I was unable to answer within a 21-day period and therefore defaulted on the lawsuit. Then the eviction appeal case comes up, and I'm just hoping for the best at this point. Honestly, I didn't focus on it because I was just overwhelmed. Every single corrupt person in the case won. My aunt, Metro Greenway, and guess who loses? Me. And that tore me apart.
Listen, I'm sorry that this person is obviously going through it, but there's just like, there's no accountability. There was no apology. Like this, she is standing very firm in ruining people's lives. And therefore, I just couldn't be quiet about it anymore. My suggestion would be, you know, as you're tapping into the left and right brain, trying to, figure out your case from the law, no. Actually learn about the law. Your words are powerful, they hold weight, and they have repercussions. into people's lives. My suggestion would be to try to just tap into your ego and let it go and try whatever you possibly can do under the sun to right this wrong and admit that you are wrong and hope that this case that's being built against you will just cease and you remove everything and you apologize and you move on. The alternative to that is you're going to go to jail. You're going to be sued. The least of your concerns is going to be eviction because you're going to be living in a cardboard box. My understanding is you have children. Think of them. Put them first. For the love of God. All right, you guys, that was a super long episode for our first installment of In the Headlines. I hope you like it. I'm looking forward to continuing this because I need somewhere to talk about this stuff, and I need someone to talk about it with, and you guys all get me. I try really hard to talk to Big Guy about it, and you know, it's just not his jam. Like true crime and all of that stuff is just, it's never been his thing. He doesn't watch any of my videos. He always likes and shares them, which is so sweet of him, but he doesn't watch. And so it's so nice to like chat with you guys and discuss these types of things and go through it together. All right, let me know if you want to see more of this. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to me. I love and I appreciate you so much. I will see you in the next video. I will miss you terribly. Until then, make sure to love each other, love yourself, and I will see you soon.